Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And man, oh man, have a lot of people been sending me this article right here. Mccaleb receives 291 million XRP from Ripple, sells 10 million all at once. Today, we're going to be talking about Mccaleb and his sales. We have a little bit more of a discussion on the Elon Musk Bitcoin ordeal, basically how they could have lost $100 million had things gone a little bit differently. Then Bitcoin regained footing after refusing to break down. You guys most likely get what that one is about, and a little bit more about Ripple Net's future. So to start off, Ripple fintech giant has moved another huge sum of XRP to one of the co-founders. And you might be wondering, why is that? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And what exactly does it mean? Is all of a sudden everything going to be dumped? And why has Ripple given this to him? Or have they even given it? Well, all right. So the situation is actually quite simple. Mccaleb is a co-founder of Ripple, and he was gifted a very royal portion of the total amount of tokens at the start. A couple of years ago, however, Ripple and Jed came to the conclusion that Jed could only sell a certain amount every single day because he quit Ripple in, I believe, 2014 and really hasn't been too involved with it, and we don't know exactly why, but he's been getting rid of coins. He's also giving some to charity and giving some away, but you guys get the point. He's been getting rid of coins. Ripple, however, didn't want him to be able to dump everything on the market, and so they came to a conclusion where Ripple holds the majority of his coins and only sends him a portion every so often, where the court has ordered he can only sell a 1% or 0.1% of the total XRP daily volume every single day. And how that is calculated is basically the average XRP volume 2 weeks prior. He basically sells that amount for one entire week. So what I'm assuming is that they take the average of the entire week. So again, just take the volume of XRP for an entire week divided by 7. And then 2 weeks later, they implement it that Mccaleb can basically sell that for the next 7 days. And well, these transfers are just Ripple's wallet setting into Mccaleb's own wallet. In theory, these wallets are actually, or these transfers are actually nothing but just a money transfer from one of Mccaleb's accounts that he doesn't control himself to an account that he does control himself but doesn't really control himself either. Why? Well, because this is an account that Ripple controls fully, but this is an account that Mccaleb can only sell if he wants to for a certain amount, if you guys get my drift. So he doesn't have the control to all of a sudden sell all the coins in there. This transfer really didn't change much except for the fact that his wallet has just been funded again. It's not like it was almost finished. It would take quite a little while for that to be done. But I guess it's just a trivial thing. I'm personally not even sure why Ripple actually wanted to keep the XRP on their own and exactly how they calculated this to be given to him. Maybe this eventually totals the XRP volume in some degree as well, or it's a specific portion of the amount of XRP he has left that I cannot tell you. But hopefully by now you understand that in the end of things, he really didn't get anything and really didn't change much. He's going to keep continuing on to sell, and I've explained to you guys before, I firmly think it's a bullish thing. You might think, oh, Dusty, it's so bad. He's selling such a huge amount of XRP. Well, and we actually talked about this in a stream earlier today. Let me know in the comment section if you were actually there. All right, just say, yeah, I watched the stream, or no, I didn't watch the stream down below. You guys should watch my streams more often. I do them like I don't know when. I do them sometimes. I'll do more streams. Don't worry about it. Now, this specific situation right here, I have said in the stream that it's not a bad thing, mostly because every single founder of a crypto project has partially the intention to make money with it. You might tell me, no, they want to do it to better the world. Yes, but to also make money in the progress. I can't really think of any crypto project where the founders made $0 off of it. And the more successful the project, the more money they make most of the time because they have a percentage, right? There's even some guys you most likely know that are in this YouTube game that are advisors for some projects. They sometimes get, for example, 1%, 2%, 4% of the entire supply for advising or for doing some heavy marketing potentially in an early stage. And they get freaking millions upon tens of millions of dollars purely because they did some help in some way along there, right? And that's not even the founder of the project, and the founder most likely made $1 billion, so to speak, because, well, if a project is worth, for example, $15 billion, it could definitely be that the founders in total had $1 billion of that in total. Right? It's not that crazy. Now, with XRP2, we would prefer, however, that this quote unquote making of dollars is only theoretical, where they made money on paper but didn't actually realize that. Unless you start to think about the longer picture of things, you would rather have had it that the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, who owns right now 1 million Bitcoin, actually sold it at the start. You might say, oh, but that would have shown he didn't believe in it. No, that actually kind of showed that he didn't believe in it then, but since it did succeed, it kind of shows more positively because, well, he's gotten rid of some coins. There's less of a selling pressure in the future. If Satoshi, for example, would be holding it to the bitter end, well, what if he's going to sell it all of a sudden at 10 million? That's way more of a consequence than if we were to sell it now. And the fun fact about that is you can only see that in hindsight because you don't know how high the prices are going to go. And people will often mock others for selling at the top or selling at high points. But in the end of things, all I would say about that is I'd prefer them to sell as soon as possible. If the whales get out that are not having the best interest rate crypto projects anyway, and that had a ton of XRP at one point, I would prefer them to just kind of switch it over to some other hands. And I would prefer also for it not to be so centralized at the top, so that billionaires like this, who again have malice towards it, don't really hold too much. But I don't know if you guys get that, though. That's my version. Then Elon Musk's Bitcoin bet could cost Tesla $100 million. Following Bitcoin's rough quarter, Tesla could face an impairment charge on its balance sheet. Tesla made a whopping $1.5 billion investment in Bitcoin in February of this year. That investment could come back to bite it as a result of the crypto's recent price crash. So, according to CNBC Kate Rooney, Tesla may have to list its Bitcoin holdings at a loss. In February, Tesla announced a $1.5 billion buy. Per rules laid down by the SEC, holdings of any intangible asset like Bitcoin must be listed as an impairment charge if said asset drops below the value it was purchased at. When news of Tesla's investment broke, Bitcoin was valued at approximately $38,000. It has since fallen to a low of $31,000, meaning Tesla faces an impairment charge on its balance sheet. Making matters worse, Tesla is not able to mark up the value of its Bitcoin on the occasion that its value increases post-investment. That can only happen if and when Tesla decides to sell its Bitcoin. Quote, analysts I've been talking to are looking for between $25 million and $100 million loss for Tesla on paper in the next quarter, end quote. Rooney said, noting that it's not an exact science, quote, this is really a Rubik's Cube to figure out, end quote. And then Rooney added that, quote, the big thing crypto and analyst communities are watching, did Tesla sell any Bitcoin in the quarter to make up for some of those losses, end quote. Well, we know that Tesla sold 10% of its Bitcoin in the first quarter of the year, with CEO Elon Musk explaining that he did so to prove liquidity of Bitcoin as an alternative to holding cash on the balance sheet. But since quarter two has kind of been rough in hindsight, people do wonder, because right now it's going to be made public whether or not Tesla has actually sold any Bitcoin. And I guess theoretically speaking, if they didn't publish it, it most likely meant that they didn't make any loss on that, right? If I'm reading this correctly, if I get the picture correctly. So I guess we'll see or not see that, or not see. All right, Dutch accent, I'm sorry. That's bad news for the growing numbers of companies talking about the Bitcoin, falling pretty hard, holding Bitcoin on their corporate treasuries, as well as Tesla, other firms holding Bitcoin, including MicroStrategy and Square. Yeah, those companies aren't really liking themselves too much. I guess they don't really matter. Sorry, guys, they don't really care. However, it's not looking good for your balance sheet. That is a fact. That is a conclusion. Now, Bitcoin regains footing after refusing to break down. Yeah, we saw it in the price. We did see it. Bitcoin is actually... I bit my freaking tongue again. Bitcoin is actually recouping itself a little bit after a pretty steep fall, after a little bit of controversial news and just negativity. I wouldn't be able to tell you that right now things are looking bad. What I do find peculiar, though, is Ethereum's volume. That volume is so astronomically high, or Bitcoin's volume relatively is quite low. And also in terms of market cap and percentages, Ethereum is making a really major shift together with the Bitcoin dominance going back down over the last week or so. Things are starting to look good again for another little bit of a rally. Specifically for Ethereum, it's just kind of gearing itself up and looking pretty damn juicy. And of course, guys, I would love to be able to tell you that XRP is going to skyrocket today or tomorrow or anything like that, but I know. The only thing we can kind of speculate on and talk about is the lawsuit, because that's basically what's going to make the price just skyrocket or pump. So yeah, Bitcoin, however, is doing a little bit better for itself. And all these triangles out there, I don't care about them too much, guys. We look at what's factual, not the triangles. I don't like that too much. and then evolving RippleNet for a tokenized future. Long article, if you have the time, worth a read. Why? Well, if you try to think about it, guys, Ripple's business model is not really that elaborate. We all know about it. We all know they sell software. But one thing you should never forget is, from my perspective, partially that what we are seeing right now is not just some easy software being sold to make some money, like a lot of programs out there. No, this is software that's changing this world. And you might have also forgotten, CBDCs are a pretty foreign concept to a lot of people, yet they will be used everywhere. And soon, we'll see exactly what they will be built upon. Now, Ripple's vision is an internet of value, where basically sending money around the world and sending basically value around the world is going to be as easy as information. And we know that tokens are going to play a very, very big role in all of that. Now, in the start of their story, they say crypto, or today crypto and blockchain, are more mainstream than ever. On every major news outlet, there's a daily mention of crypto or a discussion of how crypto markets are faring. And it's even gone primetime on SNL. There's a palpable level of excitement for crypto that isn't showing signs of slowing down. Tokenization is here to stay. And to be honest with you, it's really the truth. I mean, we've seen right now that the increase in Bitcoin demand and just crypto demand in general has, to a certain degree, folded that I'm not even sure what number to put there. It's like, let's say 5, 10, whatever folded over the last couple of years here. It's only been increasing. There's, of course, some peaks and some falls, but generally speaking, the interest in crypto and the institutional adoption has been increasing. One fun fact that people like to underestimate is how much of a role Ripple will play in all of this when time moves on. And a good part of that has to do with the fact that institutions are getting into crypto, yes, but the majority of these institutions are just buying themselves some Bitcoin, for example. A lot of these companies are working with VeChain and some are working on Solana, but those are kind of small things. Why? Well, because a lot of these bigger companies, they don't really want to work on a crypto like Ethereum. No, they would rather work with something either private or just whatever they're doing right now to be able to kind of mix that together with crypto, which again, VeChain is a really good contender for, or as we already mentioned, Ripple. And that's one thing we're not seeing too much of just quite yet. It's been happening in the back, but we're not seeing too much because of this Ripple SEC lawsuit. And I keep telling you guys, once the utility starts to take over, which inevitably it will, in my own opinion, in my thought process, I think it will happen if they win the lawsuit already. I would say that then utility can actually get a really huge bump, a huge rocket that would really drastically help for getting their foot in the crypto markets. From that perspective on forward, things are going to drastically change in crypto. From the moment an altcoin overtakes Bitcoin, or from the moment that the utility really kicks in, which we'll most likely see, and again, a little bit of an inverse or just a not necessarily direct correlation anymore for these cryptos, like for example, the Bitcoin and Ether correlation. Once it starts to shift a little bit, all my days will crypto be different. And once more, I think institutions might help with all of that, as those big guys are just buying Bitcoin for a good part. But if they're talking about one crypto to really use, it wouldn't be Bitcoin, because what can you use it for, right? As a hedge against others, but that's just buying it though. They would rather use something like Ripple's XRP. I'm saying Ripple's XRP because that's easier for some people to understand. Officially, it's just XRP as a single entity, but you guys get the picture I'm trying to paint. XRP is one of the easiest ones for these big institutions to kind of test out, use, and start something up with. And if we're not just talking XRP, then we have the XRP ledger. And again, one of the very key concepts I personally think is federated sidechains, a proposal which has been brought up by, I believe, David Schwartz. I think he's actually the one who proposed it, but it could be anybody. And he basically maybe just commented on it. I'm not sure. What that would allow is for example, entire private networks to be built on top of the XP ledger. It would allow for so much functionality. Amazon could run on that. Pick a company, it could most likely run on that if they have a lot of internet stuff or just any stuff related to it. Obviously, I mean, if you have your local ice cream shop, that's not going to do too much benefit, but you guys get the picture. You guys get the idea. It's just such a revolutionary idea, and I know Ethereum could be used for a lot of things too. But still, think about it. A lot of these institutions, what are they going to use Ethereum for? What would they really do it for? It would just be because of making an NFT maybe, or just for the memes and giggles. But to a certain degree, it's also very expensive to utilize. And I just think XP makes a really good contender there for things which are about to come. You might say, oh, but Binance Smart Chain, they've chosen. Binance Smart Chain is filled with scams and not that serious projects. As of this point, the XP Ledger is pretty plain Jane as well. and it's kept a more serious approach to things with not that many hypey projects, not that many scammy things. Yeah, this really might turn out to be a big deal, guys. So think about that. Hopefully subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I post content every single day. I think it's stuff you like if you watch this far, so make sure you press that button. And maybe press the like button. It helps me out a ton, and it doesn't cost you anything. So yeah, thank you all, and I'll see you guys again in another one.